In today's video, we will talk about the top 10 dirtiest countries in the world in 2025. Pollution is a huge problem that harms the environment, human health, and wildlife. Many countries are struggling with toxic air, dirty water, and overflowing waste, making life harder for millions of people. Reports from environmental studies show which countries are the most affected and why their pollution levels are so high. We will explore the main causes behind their rankings, including industrial waste, poor regulations, and rapid urban growth. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and watch the full video. Number 10, Egypt. A country famous for its ancient wonders is facing severe environmental problems in 2025. Reports from the World Health Organization and the World Bank reveal that Cairo, the capital, has some of the worst air pollution in the world. The air is filled with toxic fumes from old vehicles, factories, and the burning of waste, making it dangerous to breathe. The Nile River, Egypt's most important water source, is also heavily polluted. Large amounts of untreated sewage, factory waste, and plastic are contaminating the water. Satellite data from 2024 shows that more than 40% of agricultural water in the Nile Delta is polluted, threatening both food production and public health. Although the government is promoting waste recycling and renewable energy, progress has been slow. Rapid urban growth and weak infrastructure continue to damage the environment, putting Egypt's delicate ecosystem at risk. Without urgent action, pollution could worsen, affecting millions of lives and Egypt's future sustainability. Number 9, Indonesia. A country known for its beautiful islands and rich biodiversity is facing a serious environmental crisis in 2025. According to Greenpeace and United Nations Environment Program, the country's rainforests are disappearing rapidly due to deforestation for palm oil plantations. This not only destroys habitats for wildlife like orangutans and tigers, but also leads to thick haze that spreads across Southeast Asia every year, causing severe health problems. Jakarta, the nation's capital, is one of the most polluted cities in the world. The air is filled with toxic fumes from traffic congestion, coal power plants, and burning waste, making it difficult for people to breathe. The situation is worsening, putting millions of residents at risk of respiratory diseases. Indonesia's rivers are also in crisis. The Citarum River, often called one of the dirtiest in the world, is filled with plastic waste, factory chemicals, and sewage. Despite international aid and local campaigns like Clean Indonesia, pollution continues to grow. If stronger environmental laws and enforcement are not implemented, Indonesia's natural beauty and ecosystems could be lost, threatening both wildlife and human health for future generations. Number 8, Bangladesh. In 2025, air pollution in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, remains one of the worst in the world, according to studies by Air Visual and United Nations Environment Program. The city has dangerously high levels of PM 2.5 particles, tiny pollutants that harm the lungs. The main causes of this pollution include smoke from brick kilns, outdated vehicles, and unregulated factories. Although Bangladesh has made great progress in economic growth and human development, pollution remains a major challenge. The garment industry, which is one of the biggest contributors to the country's economy, is also a leading cause of water pollution. Rivers like the Buriganga are filled with toxic chemicals and dyes from textile factories, making the water unsafe for drinking or fishing. Waste management is another serious problem. A 2024 study found that less than 40% of urban waste is properly collected and treated, leaving piles of garbage in streets and waterways. Climate change is making things worse, with rising sea levels and frequent floods spreading pollutants to wider areas. Although the government has introduced green initiatives and stricter environmental laws, enforcement remains weak, and pollution continues to threaten public health and ecosystems. Number 7, Pakistan. In 2025, Pakistan's pollution crisis has worsened, and environmental experts from United Nations Environment Program and local research groups now call it a national emergency. A 2024 Worldwide Fund for Nature Pakistan report revealed that over 90% of Pakistan's wastewater is dumped into rivers and lakes without treatment, making the water unsafe for drinking and irrigation. Urban waste management is also a huge issue. Most cities lack proper recycling and waste disposal systems, leading to huge landfills and garbage piling up on streets. Karachi and Lahore are among the most polluted cities in South Asia, with thick smog caused by vehicle fumes, industrial smoke, and the burning of crops. Breathing in this polluted air increases respiratory diseases and other health risks. The Indus River, which is Pakistan's main water source for farming and drinking, is heavily polluted with industrial waste, untreated sewage, and plastic debris. To combat these issues, the government launched the Clean, Green Pakistan movement, aiming to improve waste management, plant trees, and promote clean energy. However, progress is slow due to limited funding and political challenges. Without stronger action, Pakistan's pollution crisis will continue to threaten public health, agriculture, and the environment. Number 6, India. In 2025, India, the world's most populated country, is facing a severe environmental crisis, making it one of the most polluted nations globally, according to air, visual, and IQ air studies. Many Indian cities rank among the most polluted, with Delhi and other urban areas experiencing extremely poor air quality. The main reasons are vehicle emissions, industrial pollution, construction dust, and the seasonal burning of crops in nearby states. Water pollution is another major issue. Rivers like the Yamuna and Ganges are highly contaminated with untreated sewage, industrial waste, and religious offerings. A 2024 Chandigarh Pradesh Congress Committee report found that over 60% of India's water bodies are unsafe for drinking or domestic use, endangering millions of lives. Waste management remains a huge challenge. Cities like Mumbai and Kolkata struggle with overflowing landfills, while plastic waste pollutes rural areas. Despite initiatives like Swachh Bharat and efforts to expand renewable energy, progress is too slow. Without stronger action, India's environmental crisis will worsen, affecting health, biodiversity, and the economy. The country urgently needs faster and more effective solutions to tackle pollution and sustainability challenges. Number 5, Nigeria. In 2025, Nigeria, Africa's most populous country and largest economy, is struggling with serious environmental problems. According to United Nations Environment Program and the World Bank, Lagos, one of the world's biggest megacities, suffers from some of the worst air pollution in Africa. The main causes are diesel generators, industrial emissions, and unregulated vehicles that pump toxic fumes into the air. Despite growing awareness and international support for environmental cleanup, corruption and weak governance continue to slow down progress. Waste management is another critical issue. Open dumping and burning of garbage are common, leading to serious air, water, and soil pollution. The Niger Delta, one of the world's most important wetland regions, remains severely damaged by decades of unregulated oil extraction. Massive oil spills have contaminated farmlands, rivers, and drinking water. A 2024 Amnesty International report found that over 75% of drinking water sources in the Delta region are unsafe due to oil pollution. Although government programs and clean energy initiatives are being introduced, enforcement remains weak. Without stronger action, Nigeria's environmental crisis will continue to threaten public health, biodiversity, and economic growth. Number 4, Mongolia. In 2025, Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, remains one of the most polluted cities in the world, especially during the winter months. Heavy rainfall, coal burning, and industrial pollution make air quality extremely dangerous. Mongolia, known for its vast grasslands and nomadic culture, is now facing a serious environmental crisis linked to urban pollution and climate change. According to a 2024 United Nations Development Program report, Mongolia's freshwater sources are disappearing at an alarming rate due to industrial mining operations. Water scarcity is becoming a major issue, affecting both people and livestock. Although the government has introduced clean energy projects and tree planting programs, these initiatives are still in the early stages and struggle to keep up with the scale of environmental destruction. In Ulaanbaatar's traditional Ga'ar, yurt districts, many families rely on coal for heating, releasing toxic particulate matter into the air. Additionally, desertification caused by climate change and overgrazing is rapidly reducing Mongolia's fertile land, threatening food security and livelihoods. Without urgent action, Mongolia's unique environment and way of life could be permanently damaged. Number 3, Haiti. In 2025, deforestation in Haiti has reached a critical level, leaving only about 2% of the country's original forests intact. Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, has lost its trees due to widespread logging, charcoal production, and land clearing for farming. A recent World Bank report states that this massive deforestation has led to severe flooding during tropical storms, soil erosion, and declining agricultural yields. Without tree roots to hold the soil, heavy rains wash away fertile land, making it harder for farmers to grow food. The capital, Port-au-Prince, faces a major waste problem. Streets are filled with uncollected trash, contaminating water sources and causing disease outbreaks. A 2024 study found that over 70% of Haitians do not have access to clean drinking water, as rivers and groundwater are heavily polluted. Air pollution is another growing concern. Many families burn wood and waste for cooking and heating, releasing toxic fumes into the air. Haiti's unstable government and weak economy make it difficult to implement long-term environmental solutions. Number 2, Chad. In 2025, Chad is facing one of the worst environmental crises in the world, as reported by United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund and United Nations Environment Program. A mix of poverty, climate change, and weak infrastructure has made life even harder for people living in this Central African nation. Lake Chad, once a lifeline for millions, has shrunk by more than 90% due to climate change and overuse. As a result, many villages no longer have access to clean water, forcing people to travel long distances or rely on unsafe sources. Air pollution is another major problem. The expanding Sahara Desert sends thick dust storms across the country, while indoor air pollution from wood and charcoal cooking fires causes serious respiratory diseases. A 2024 World Bank study found that less than 10% of Chad's people have access to proper sanitation, leading to waterborne diseases. With no proper waste management system, trash piles up in cities, contaminating the land and water. Ongoing conflicts and lack of funding make it extremely difficult to fix these problems, leaving Chad in a worsening environmental crisis. Number 1, Afghanistan. In 2025, Afghanistan is considered one of the most polluted countries in the world, according to a 2024 United Nations Environment Program report. Years of war, poverty, and weak government have made its environmental problems even worse. The air quality in Kabul, the capital, is among the worst globally. This is due to uncontrolled vehicle emissions, the use of low-quality fuel, and pollution from factories. Many people suffer from breathing problems and lung diseases because of the heavy smog. Water pollution is another major issue. Rivers and groundwater are filled with untreated sewage and toxic industrial waste, making it dangerous to drink. Deforestation and overgrazing have caused severe soil erosion, reducing agricultural production and increasing the risk of natural disasters. Waste disposal is also a crisis. Most cities dump trash in open areas or burn it, adding to climate change and health risks. Despite international help, rising temperatures and less rainfall are making food and water shortages worse. Political instability and lack of funds make solving these problems extremely difficult. Afghanistan's crisis shows why urgent environmental action is needed.